I'm Abby at Wilson's Garden Center, and we are adding to our straw bale garden today. The bales are conditioned, and we did a video on that, so you can look that up. It is May 27th, and they're ready to plant in. So what I have here, the bale's pretty wet. It rained a lot last night. I've mixed up some organic Plant Magic fertilizer here. This is a liquid, and you just dissolve it in there, a tablespoon per gallon. And this bale is going to get a grafted jalapeno pepper and a regular jalapeno pepper so we can compare their performance. So I'm going to put those on either side, and then just because we have a garden salsa pepper, which is one of the varieties we have here. It's anywhere from 2,000 to 4,500 on the Scoville scale. Jalapeno would be around 5,000. With the hot peppers, it depends on the weather a lot. If it's dry and hot towards the end of the season, your peppers will be a lot more intense. But if it's milder and a little cooler and more wet, you're going to have milder peppers. So there's your little pepper lesson for today. But to plant in here, we need to rip out some straw to make a space for the plant. This might take a little more work than I was expecting. So, pulling the straw out with my hands was not going very well, so we've gotten a claw, which looks much more effective. So that's about good. And with each plant, you'll want to use a little bit of potting soil. And I've taken our Wilson's potting mix right here and mixed in some bumper crop, which is an organic soil amendment. And I'll just put a little of that in there. And that's just to get things started and to help solidify the plant in its growing spot there. So we'll do that. And then you can put some of the straw back on top to conserve moisture. We're going to repeat that for the other two peppers. Yeah, this tool is making it doable. That should work. This is the non-grafted jalapeno. We should point out that with the grafted plants, like this one, you do not want to bury the graft, because if you do that, well, you don't want to bury a pepper stem anyway, because it won't be happy, but you can kind of tell where the graft is there. And if you bury it deeper than that, it can revert back to what it would be without the graft. And it's grafted onto rootstock that's really disease resistant and productive. So the whole point of grafting a pepper is to make it more productive and increase that disease resistance. Alright, we have planted our peppers in the bale. They're all set. I'm going to pour some fertilizer on here for them. And we will continue fertilizing them once a week throughout the season because they won't be getting any nutrition from the bale. So we need to supply that.
So how often do you need to water?
Keep it watered. You may need to water every day on hot days in the summer. Just keep your eye on it. and watch the plants, they'll tell you more than actually feeling the bale will. Back here, we're going to compare grafted plants again with non-grafted. So we have the grafted mortgage lifter and the non-grafted mortgage lifter. And with this, you can see where the graft is on the mortgage lifter. And same thing as with the pepper, you don't want to bury that. And you can see how it's already trying to send out some little roots, but it would revert back to a regular old mortgage lifter that won't have as good disease resistance or productivity if you let it do that. So you want to keep that above the soil level. With a regular tomato, it's one of those few plants that does like to have its stem buried. So with this one, I'm going to take off this leaf down here and bury that much of the stem. And it'll root out there and be a little more stable anyway because of being buried that deep. And then I also brought a basil over here that we're going to stick in between here because basil gets along really well with tomatoes and it's just beautiful anyhow. So they will all get to grow together in this bale. So I'm having to dig a really deep hole here because I told you I'm going to plant the mortgage lifter that deep. I'm kind of regretting that, but the plant will be happy for it in the long run.
What happens if you don't plant it deep?
It would be fine. It just helps it out to be planted deep because it has more capacity for root growth that way. Just taking advantage of all that stem that can turn into roots. And in goes the non-grafted mortgage lifter, along with extra potting soil here. And we'll replace some of that straw. Put its tag there so you can come visit us and know what it is. Alright, that's it. Here we are planting Rosa Bianca eggplant and Karma, which is a bell pepper. It turns red if you leave it on the vine. And this one is a really good, thick-walled, disease-resistant pepper. A really good one. And then in the middle, we have Super Sauce, which is one of the Burpee exclusive tomatoes. And it's a new one for us to carry this year. These are paste tomatoes, and they can get 1.5 to 2 pounds. So that's going to fill a whole quart jar right there. It's amazing. So we will see how it does here. Alright, this bale is getting 2 zucchini in it, and each of these cell packs has 2 plants, and we only need 1 per space. So, pinching off the extras so that they won't compete with each other, and adding that extra soil in.
What variety is this?
This is called Zucchini Elite. It's just a long dark green variety. It's kind of the classic one that most people buy. Alright, in this bale we are planting 2 heirloom varieties. We have Green Zebra and Mr. Stripey. And Mr. Stripey will ripen to a sort of yellow and orange. It'll be streaky and pretty and delicious. And Green Zebra stays green, it just turns darker and it's kind of streaked and has a unique but really good flavor. A lot of people come back for it every year. One thing to note, when you buy plants, a smaller pot is going to be better for planting the straw bales because it's kind of hard to dig down in there. I was originally thinking about putting tomatillo over here in the bale, but once we start digging in there, we realized that would be a lot of digging and a lot of work. So it's going to go in its own pot. probably in a later video. Today, we're just going to do Mr. Stripey and Green Zebra. So that'll do it for starting plants in our straw bale gardens. Stick with us. We'll be posting more videos as these grow. In the next video, we will be staking the tomatoes and the peppers and eggplant. These two, we'll just tie up the fence as they grow. And I think that's about it for today. Come and see us and have a great gardening day.